Hello.
Hi, Tim. How are you?
All right.
It's Teknishia, the bright side with Teknishia.
Oh, hey, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. We were all waiting on you.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I kept saying hello. Nobody would say anything.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I kept answering, but nobody wouldn't say anything.
Well, let's get it rolling. We're gonna move past that first step. That's how I do. We ain't gonna worry about that. Nobody out. So, Tim, let's call yourself the motivator. We would love to know more about you and why is it that you call yourself the motivator.
Because that's what I do. I motivate people just by showing up, just by my actions wherever I go. I motivate people, inspire them, awaken them to do more than they think they can do or they thought they could do.
Now, I found your book very inspiring, and the fact, did you have the experience, though, before you wrote the book?
You said they have the experience to do what now?
Did you have the experience to actually do what you're doing, like sell cars before you actually wrote the book?
Yes, I sold cars for 20 years before I wrote the book.
What made you actually want to get into this field, though?
Well, when I started out washing cars at a Nissan dealership. And what happened was I just started seeing a lot of the salesmen, dressing nice and making a lot of money. So I wanted to move up and do that. So I asked a lot of them, hey, if a position comes open, let me know. And nobody would ever tell me if position came open. So what I did was I actually had a general manager to ask me if I wanted to sell cars. Just looked at me and said, hey, you want to sell cars? And he did. And I said yes. And that's how I got in the car business.
Yeah, I read that in your book. And then the other one, and I guess the others didn't believe that you actually could move on. They thought that you needed them. Oh, I need you to wash these cars. And I love when you said, I'm going next door. I'm not washing no cars. I quit.
Exactly. And just actually a couple of weeks ago, something happened that I never would think would happen was my detail manager, when I was selling cars, he told me once he found out, like a couple of weeks later, he said, you're not going to last 30 days in the car business. And I just looked at him. I said, you don't know. I'm sorry?
I was saying, no, he didn't.
Yeah. And I just looked at him, and I didn't say anything to him, but in my mind, I said, you don't know what I can do. And 2 weeks ago, I seen him at a cleaners. I went in there to put some shirts in the cleaners, and he just happened to be walking in, and I was coming out. He said, hey, Tim, how you doing? I said, I'm doing all right. He said, what are you doing now? I said, well, I have my own company. I train salespeople. And you have no idea what that did to me because I had sold cars for 21 and a half years, and he said I wouldn't last 30 days.
Wow. Sounds like we have, because I work for the Marriott, and my director of food and beverage was told that to the former director of food and beverage told him he was not going to last 4 months. And he stayed with us nearly for a year. He just left on the 21st because he said he was tired of Atlanta. He wanted to go back to the store. So you don't never underestimate anyone. And that's what they did. They underestimated you. I bet they probably still married right now. They probably looking like today. I wish I could got you now, but now it's too late. Tim, I moved on now.
Exactly.
Now, tell me, in your book, you said that you got the salesman to actually come to you. But how did you actually do that? Well, because I know you didn't want to really annoy them when you started off.
Yeah, you talking about the ones I trained or the other salespeople?
When you was trying to really get to know how salesmen actually got people to buy cars, you wanted to know the whole format.
Oh, yeah. What I did was I noticed that a lot of top salespeople, because this happened at a lot of dealerships I worked at, a lot of top salespeople, they are really givers. And a lot of people don't really understand that. A lot of top performers are really the type of people that like to help. And what I did was, I just got, be friends with them. And, a lot of people don't understand this, but when you go to your job or when you are around certain people, you automatically bring up a certain subject. Like you got certain friends that like football, certain ones like basketball, certain one like fitness. And when you come up to them, that's kind of how you start your conversation. So what I did with them, my whole conversation was, how do I sell a lot of cars? What is the keys to success? So anytime I came around them, that was, my subject. So they always talked to me about that. And then what happened was they in turn told me to read different books and different things like that. So once I bought a book, it said read this other book. So what I did was I started learning everything about selling as much as I could, body language, psychology of selling, the human psychology, the theory of selling. I learned as much as I could, and I did that with the intent of one day being able to train salespeople that came in the business that didn't have that much experience and knowledge about it.
Okay. Well, what way would you have someone to actually buy a car? Because I went to a car dealership and the salesman was trying to sell my husband a car that was red and it was small, and he was convincing him, it's space enough. And my husband, in his mind, he was looking like, no, I prefer a SUV, but he was still trying to convince him. We just left and kind of like went somewhere else. Now, what would you have
what happened? Yeah, I've heard that story for years. And what happens is I try to train salespeople that you have two ears and one mouth. You need to listen more than you talk. And I've heard customers tell me, hey, this guy tried to sell me a convertible, and I wanted a minivan. Or he tried to sell me a van, and I wanted a sports car. What salesmen really rarely realize is the customer would tell you how to sell them if you listen to them. And what happens is I not only listen to the customer, but I always listen to what they're doing, what they're looking at, and they'll tell you how to sell them. You don't really have to try to sell them. And what I try to tell salespeople also is sell yourself. Because you're not in the car business, you're in the people business. If the people buy you and they like you, they'll buy whatever you have to sell. But a lot of salespeople come into the business, and the problem is they come in without any experience, and they don't have any training, or they get little training, or the training is not good, and then they're just thrown out there to swim or drown. And so that's the reason I got in the car business, because I kept hearing stories like that. I kept hearing salesmen not being successful, didn't know what to do. They got a family to feed. There's no training. They're not selling any cars, or they're not making any money. So that's why I wrote the book for new, what we call in the car business is green pea salespeople, but them to have some kind of foundation to build on. Now, when if your husband came in, one thing I want to do is find out what he likes and different things like that and get to know him, not just what kind of car. And he will actually start to like me, because the thing about it is when you become interested, people become interested because they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And the thing about me is why I sold so many cars, because I really care about people. If you didn't buy the car, I'm still going to call you and just have a friendly conversation with you. That's just the way I am. That's the way I created myself.
Also, sometimes it comes a conflict of interest when it comes to the point where the credit report comes up, and then it's like, okay, I got to pay a higher fee, because that's what I had to do with bonds. I had to pay a certain. You got to pay a monthly amount, and it be so high because of your credit. And that discouraged me a little bit from getting a car. And then one took me to the out where, you got to get a co-sign, and I'm like, well, I got to get a co-sign. I'm the one making the payment. So then that discouraged. I was like, what? And one guy even told me, he was like, well, you're not going to be able to get a car because of your credit. And I was like, wow, that's so negative. You know what? I don't want that. That was like Toyota. And so that's what made me go to Drive Time, because I heard Drive Time works with you. And then they was acting funny. So I went to U.S. Auto Sales. It'd be kind of hard to really like get that sales person to really attach to you, because I feel like this, when you're in business, you should become one with the customer no matter what. And that's what our former food and beverage director who just left told us, because I'm a waitress, and he told us, you're not an order taker. You are a salesperson. That's what you do. You do the food. You don't take orders. So when I go to that table, I say, let me suggest you this type of wine. I don't let you tell me what wine you want. I'm going to suggest you that wine. Now, if you refuse it, then okay, let's move on to something else. What do you really like? So I can get you that right drink. Are you really hungry? So I can tell you that fried chicken with that mashed skin, red potatoes, and green beans. So I feel like you when you're selling your cars. But, Tim, what I want to know, With your help, is there a guarantee that you can really increase a salesperson commission if they follow your sales?
Oh, it's no doubt. It's no doubt. To see what it is, let me give you an example. I went to, I don't know if you heard of like Pensacola, Florida, close to the area where I'm at. I went to a car dealership down there, and I went to probably about 10 dealerships marketing in my training. When I walked into one dealership, I just happened to walk in, and the manager yelled my name. I didn't even know he worked there. Last time I seen him, he was in my area. So he said, Tim, and I turned around, and he was there, so I told him what I was there for. I said, well, I just want to give you a small presentation on what I do. I train, new salespeople. So after about 10 minutes, he said, I'm sold. I want it. If the dealership don't want it, I'm going to pay for it for one guy. He's been here about 2 months. I want you to train him. I said, well, what I'll do also is I'll give you a free 30-minute presentation and let some of the other salespeople see if they want it. So he said, well, come the next day. So I came the next day, and the general manager didn't want me to do it. They were busy or whatever. So he let me talk to this guy that he wants me to train for about 30 minutes. After I talked to him, he said, I got another guy I want you to talk to. So this other guy came, and this guy, he had kind of a, he knew it all type of attitude. And what I'm really good at is I'm really good at reading people. And I know how to not cause conflict, but to get my point across. So I asked him, I said, well, how long have you been in sales? He said, about 1.5 years. I said, okay. I said, I've been selling about 21.5 years. And I said, I'm a sales trainer. And I just mentioned to him, I said, I'm also a business strategist. He said, now, what is that? I said, I can walk into a dealership and I can tell what can help this dealership. Not what the problem is, but what can help them make more money. And he just looked at me and he said, what do you think can help this dealership here? I said, your shirt. He said, what do you mean my shirt? I said, you have a polo shirt on. And actually he had a pink polo shirt on. He said, what do you mean? I said, you do not work at the mall selling polo shirts. You're at a car dealership. I said, you need the name of the dealership on your shirt and your name on there. He said, but this shirt makes me look good. I said, yeah. But I said, if you had a Dodge shirt on, that shirt will make you more money. I said, do you want to make more money or do you want a shirt that make you look good? He just looked at me, just stared at me with a deer in the headlight look. Like, that makes sense. I'm like, I know. That's what I do. Now, I'm looking at a dealership. This is a multi-million-dollar dealership, and nobody in the dealership said that to him. Now, this is another thing. I went and told the manager that. He said, well, did you help him? I said, well, I told him this. He said, oh, okay. I said, now, this is what I told the manager. I said, yeah, I told him about his shirt. So I'm going to tell you one more thing. I said, you have a guy walking around here, a salesperson, with shades on, and he has a Budweiser jacket on. He just looked at me. I said, what if he greeted a customer that came in to buy a car, and their family member or friend was killed by a drunk driver, and they're at a car dealership talking to a guy with a Budweiser jacket on? Would he attract that customer or would he repel that customer? The man just looked at me and closed his eyes as if to say, oh, my God.
Yeah.
Little things like that, they don't pay attention to.
And it does matter.
It does. It does.
Just going back to any job, you got to represent that company. Even if one of my coworkers gave us a good example when we had a stand-up. She said that she met a guy he was at the car dealership himself, and he was a platinum member for the Marriott. I mean, you on stage so many times. And she recognized him. She said, thank you for being a platinum member. He was shocked, she said, because she was out of uniform somewhere else and still recognized him because you're representing a company. I don't care if you're in or out of uniform, represent a company. And that's what I always learn. No matter what job you are. You work for McDonald's, you outside in that uniform, you are still an employee of McDonald's no matter what.
Exactly.
And you're right, Sam. People fail to realize that's why their business declines.
That's it. That's it. And what salespeople don't realize is this. You're not just working at a dealership, because when you work at a car dealership, you're on commission and bonus only, which means you don't sell anything and you don't get paid. And so what I told the guy is, I said, when I worked in Atlanta, I would walk into the bank, Walmart, a post office, which I actually walked into a post office one day, and I had a Honda shirt on. And this was my off day. I walked in there to buy some stamps, and this lady said, hey, you work at Honda? I said, yeah. She said, my daughter's looking for a Honda. I said, okay. I said, call your daughter and tell her to give me her fax number. She said, I don't have one, but my neighbor has one. She called the neighbor, got the fax number. I faxed her an application, told her mother, I want you to tell her to fax that back to you. You fill the bottom of it out. She faxed it back to me. That evening, they came and bought a car for me.
Yeah, Lee. And that's a bad
yeah.
deal.
Yeah, but see, that's why guys would come to me and say, hey, man, what are you doing? How are you selling all these cars? And a lot of little things add up to big things.
That's what you write. That's what you put in your book. You should always carry your business cards, no matter what. No matter where you go.
Always. Always. And see, when somebody says that, hey, you work at a car dealership or something like that, that's your intro to talk to them about a car.
Not that you say that you're not the company. You're doing you. You are.
Exactly.
You are like the company. That's what you're doing.
Exactly. And that's what I try to get in salesman's head is don't think because the dealership is advertising in the newspaper, they're advertising on TV, on commercials, that you're going to get that business. They come in and look for anybody. You need to also advertise for yourself. And that's what I teach them, how to do that. Because a lot of them don't know how to market and advertise themselves as a business.
Mhm. And that's amazing how you said that, because that's what he told us. He said, I never served before, but I can tell you how you can sell. You don't have to know how to serve. You can know how to sell. And every time I think about it, I'll be like, yeah, except when it gets real busy, then I don't have time to like sell, because we've been getting like these little dancers all through the hotel, so we don't have time to really sit there and engage with one customer at a time. But Tim, at the end of your book, you explained that what really led you to writing this book, and it was the incident of you almost going across some train tracks.
Right.
Can you elaborate more on that? Because I really got engaged in that part.
Yeah, that's something, that chapter, man, I'm going to be honest with you. When I wrote that book, I was debating if I want to put that in there because I knew it would come up when somebody would read it or at seminars and workshops. It's really hard to talk about. It took me a long time to be able to even write it. When I wrote the book, I said I want to write 20 chapters because I was in the car business 20 years. And I wanted that to be the last chapter. And I struggled with writing it because it was difficult because, you know, some people, when you say things like that, they kind of don't believe you or whatever. And it's got to the point where I said, I'm not worried about that. But what happened was I was driving to see somebody one night. And I normally drive. I drive with my radio music loud, and I was driving. And I had been down this street many times. And it's a train track, but there's no crossing, rail crossing that come down, and there's no lights. So it's just a stop sign there, and I never stopped at it. So this one night I was driving, radio was up loud, and I didn't know it was a train coming. And it was a train coming. It comes like the same way you're driving, but you can't see the light because if you're driving one way and the train is over here on the other side, the light is flashing somewhere else. You can't really see it. But the train track curved around to the street where I was at. And I didn't think a train even was on this train track because I'd never seen one before. So I'm driving, the radio's up loud, so I can't see the light. I can't hear the horn because my music was up. And I got real, real close to the stop sign, and all of a sudden I just heard a whisper. A whisper said, stop. And for some reason I hit the brakes. Because my thinking was the only way I can hear a whisper like that, somebody has to be in this back seat in my ear. How can I hear a whisper with this radio up loud? And when I hit the brakes, I looked back in the back seat because I thought somebody was in the back seat. So when I turned back, I didn't see nothing. And then as soon as I looked forward, the train was going across the train tracks.
Wow.
And what happened was, if I wouldn't have stopped, I would have hit the train track at the same time that the train, because when I stopped, it came across the train tracks. And it was going so fast, my heart was beating. I'm like, if I wouldn't have stopped, that you couldn't have recognized not only me, but what I was driving the train, because it was coming from the driver's side. I mean, it just went through my vehicle. It was just split it in half. It was just going that fast. And after the train passed, I was just still sitting there trying to, understand what just happened. I'm like, I heard a whisper, this train went across. I'm trying to figure all this stuff out. And it was like, what in the world just happened? And I knew, it took me a while, but I finally figured out what it was. And what happened, like that few weeks later, I actually moved to Atlanta because I told myself I'm never going to stop and let fear or anything stop me from doing what I want to do in life, my dreams, my goals, whatever it is. And that totally changed my life. When that happened, I actually could, see the sun, hear the birds. Before, it was just birds. I wouldn't really pay any attention. But it just heightened my awareness to the point that I just said, I don't know why this happened, but I'm just going to wait and see what happened. And I thought that it was because I was supposed to go out telling people this is what happened. And I did that. And do you know, a feeling came over me that said, what are you doing? Why are you telling people this? That was for you. That wasn't for you to tell people this. And then I'm thinking like, okay, what am I supposed to do? And I actually thought that, that's what I was supposed to do, was tell people about this. And what happened, I finally came to the conclusion that was just for me. He said, I have something better for you to do. And you can't go out and do it because you don't even know what it is. And after that, I just been guided to the point where I get this feeling I'm supposed to go do something, and I just go do it. And it's helping people. That's all it is. And I didn't understand it. At the time, I thought I was supposed to tell people about this story, but no. I have something I want you to do, and I know you can do it. And it's to go out and help as many people as you can. And I have a motto, and it's this. My goal in life is to help everyone I meet and make sure I leave them better than I found them. And that's it.
God is so powerful. He would send messages to you in a certain way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And the thing about it, when he does it, you can't help but to listen.
Yes. But you also, he'll have a way to make you listen, and then you have to have a good heart to actually listen. You got to be willing to listen.
Yep, that's it. You're right. You're exactly right.
See, that's what I love about having this show, because that's all I've been getting guests who actually been through the spiritual coming with. Because I even had one guy say, well, he explained to me that he actually met God. He'd been to the heavens, and I was shocked because I was like, really? Like, you been that far? Like, I never heard nobody actually experience. I mean, like, you actually been to heaven. Like, I had people say near-death experiences. Now, I haven't went that far. And it sounds like a magical trick. Like, you really want to do it? Like, really? Can I do that? Like,
right.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's why I've been so successful. Just letting him guide me, and I don't worry about anything. I used to, and things used to happen, and you know what I say now? I mean, bad things used to happen to me. But now, you know what I say? He's got something better. And every time something bad, I don't care what he takes away from me, something better happens. It's been times when I've been broke, car got repossessed. I don't worry about it. Next thing I know, I'm riding around in a brand new car in 1 year. Somebody broke in my house, stole everything out of my house. And you know what? I got double.
That's what you exactly said in your book. Even if you got a bill to pay, you don't worry about it. And that's the attitude I have taken now. If I got a bill to pay, I'm not gonna worry about it. I just get paid or it won't get paid, but it's not gonna make me lose my mind or go crazy because I know I have my back.
That's it. And I've got to the point now where I'm just happy no matter what. Because see, I used to be broke and then unhappy. And when I got money, now I'm happy. But now it doesn't matter. I'm happy no matter what.
Exactly. Because who is ever happy? You see rich people, they're not even happy.
Exactly.
They be worse. They're more dysfunctional than we are, and they have the money.
You're right. You're exactly right.
Every time you turn on the news, one of them dies, and excuse me for saying that, they die from using heroin. They have too many issues. Their heart is burdened because you have so much. And as God already said, their heaven is already here. See, they already got it. And then sometimes when I think about it, Tim, I don't think I actually do want to be that rich. I don't want to be unhappy and have all that money and don't have a clue what to do with it.
And that's what a lot of people don't realize. The reason why you don't have it.
I don't need it. I'm enjoying just without it. My happiness is having my family, knowing I can go to work. I'm comfortable.
Exactly.
Tim, let me ask you though, for instance, have there ever been somebody who maybe like just brought the car back to you, or you just quick on the spot, you sell the car and they just keep it automatically? I'm
sorry, say it one more time.
Like, have you ever had a person just to bring back the car? Some people who might don't want it after a while say, look, I don't want it. Does that mess? Have you ever had that issue?
No. I've had it where people have tried to see certain dealerships. They have policy that once you sign the contract, you can't bring it back. So I've had people that try to bring it back. It was a lot of times it wasn't nothing that I did. A lot of times they just told me, you just was a good salesman. We liked you. We bought the car. We normally, we came looking. You know what I'm saying? And they just made a quick decision and wasn't really, didn't really want to buy at that particular time. They went home and thought about it. And we really weren't ready. And there was nothing wrong with the car. They just were really waiting to save up some money, but now they bought it. Now they got to deal with it. So I've had that happen, but a lot of dealerships, they don't take them back. I haven't had anybody where it was a problem, where I sold them something,
But let me ask this too, because there are you got stubborn people sometimes, and they just refuse to, just don't want to do anything. Like, for instance, you try to sell them that car, but they just refuse. I just don't want anything at all. Is there a way to break through?
Yeah, that's one of the main things I teach, because that's a lot of when I go out and talk to salesmen, I ask them, what's your biggest problem? That's one of them. That's not really the main problem, but that's one of the biggest problems. Okay. And what I try to tell them, whatever problem you think you have, because it's not really the customer, it's you. Because if you keep getting no's from a customer, it means you don't know something. And that's what I try to do. They try to get more involved in the sale instead of getting involved into the person, the customer. And that's what I try to teach them how to do, which is really difficult, is to build that rapport up, where when I used to talk to a customer outside, when we came in, I already knew they were ready to buy. You know what I'm saying? And I try to teach salesmen this: you sell on your feet and you close on your seat. See, a lot of salesmen, they test drive the car and they bring you in, and then they start the negotiating process. See, I figured out what it would take to make the sale before I brought them inside.
Okay. Because, some of them do that. Okay, let's go test drive, and you're like, no. I don't want it. You really are just confused me a little bit. So, but I love the fact that when it came to the part in your book that you were talking about the bonus and then because he's supposed to been giving you like $1,000 that time, and all of a sudden you mentioned about that he was going to give you $300, but he wanted you to sell 3 cars, and you went and did that. That what?
Right. Yeah, I did a lot of things at that dealership. I went and did things that I asked for, actually. When I initially went there, they paid me like $2,000 to come back to work because I had left and went back. And I actually got a desk right by the service department, and I couldn't even see customers. I couldn't even see them. And I told them, the general manager said, I don't want you sitting here. I want you to see where you can see customers. I said, I don't need to see them. I have a system where customers will come looking for me. And what I did was I answered the phone, I made phone calls, did emails, letters, and people that were in service, I actually sold them while they were waiting on the car to get service. And I went to him, and I asked him, I said, man, when y'all hired me, you said y'all were going to put some type of bonus on for this month. I've been here 2 months. I haven't seen a bonus. And then he was like, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? How many are you going to sell? I said, it depends on how much money you want to pay. And then I depends on how many I'll sell. And he was like, okay, sell 3 cars a day, I'll pay you $300. I said, cut the check. That's just how much confidence I had in myself.
No,
and by 5 or 6 o'clock that evening, I sold 3 cars that day. And this was a Saturday. And then the next Saturday, I did the same thing. I said, you want to bet again? He said, what? I said, if I sell 3, you pay me $300. He said, yeah. I said, well, cut the check. I left. At 6 o'clock that evening, I had sold 3 cars. What's that?
Yeah, I'm like, stop playing. I'm going to do this. Oh, you think I'm not? I got this.
Yeah, and that's what I try. There's a lot of dynamics in my training, because I teach salespeople, before you can do something, you need to be able to see it. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you take your phone and you take a picture of something, your phone will take a picture of whatever you snap. It doesn't matter. Now, if you put that picture in your mind, but they don't understand, your subconscious mind works the same way. If you have a vision of something you want to do, all you have to do is keep thinking about it. Your mind will send these vibrations out to the universe. It will put that in place. So when I started saying I'm going to be one of the top sellers, that was my vision of me. And that's what I did. When I said I'm going to sell 3 cars, I just had to picture myself doing it. And I went out and did it.
So, Tim, is that really your process for making the sale, from getting the lead all the way through to closing the deal?
Yeah, I have to see it. See, if I'm talking to you about a car, in my mind, I can't really what's called go for the close unless I see you driving off in that car. You know, so I can look at what I do is I just look at the customer throughout the whole process. And while I'm looking at them, I have to be able to vision them driving off in the vehicle. And once I see it, I don't care what you say, what you do, we're going to make a deal. And a lot of salespeople, what they do is they just give up on the sale. They let the customer sell them. But my thing is, this is the best vehicle for you at this time. You need this. I'm here to help you. It's just like you come to the hospital and you shot, and I give you a Band-Aid. That's what they do when the customers leave. I need to take that bullet out of you so you can live. You know, I'm here to solve a problem. You need a vehicle. That's why you're here. I didn't knock on your door until you come to the dealership. You drove in here. And I'm going to let you know that you need to buy this vehicle from me. I'm the best salesperson. I'm not only going to sell you the vehicle, I'm going to be there after the sale. If you have a problem, if you don't, whatever the problem is, I'm going to find the best way to help you. And I wouldn't be doing you any justice if I let you buy a car from somebody else that's not going to take care of you after the sale. You have a problem, and they just brush you off. But I want you to buy from me. And I tell all of my customers this. Every customer I talk to, I tell them this. I'd rather not sell you a car and tell you the truth than to lie to you, and I do sell you a car. Because if I lie to you, you're going to go around the corner and find out you're not coming back to me. But if I tell you the truth, you're going to come back, you're going to see your friends, your relatives, because I was honest with you. That's what I was doing, was building a business, not just trying to sell a car. It was more than just one car. I want to sell your whole family.
I know that's right. Yeah.
So that's the way I work.
Dang, Tim almost sound like me. I promise that's how I feel when I'm serving. I feel just the same way. You sit down, I want to sell you all the way till I can't sell you anymore till we get to the dessert. Yeah. What happened? Let me tell you something happened to me that really made me look at what I was doing. I was at a Toyota dealership, and this guy was an old white man, and I had never heard this before. He said, Tim, let me tell you something. I have never sat and talked to a black man about my personal business, giving you my social, telling you my income. He said, I've never done that. And he looked at his wife, and he said, let me tell you something. I don't just say that just to be saying it. I tell you, I speak the truth. And his wife, he looked at his wife for her to say, like, he's right. You know, he said, let me tell you something. I don't say something just to be saying this. You are probably the best salesperson I have ever talked to. Wow. This was an old white man that said he had never even talked to a black man or black person about his personal business. You know, giving out his person, his social, his date of birth, and all this type of stuff, how much his house note is, and how, you know, all this type of stuff. He said, I've never done that. This man was probably in his mid-60s. He said, I've never done that and done this in my life. So in order for you to get this information from me, I must like you. You must have done something where I trust giving you my personal Social Security number information. Wow. You shocked. Yeah, I had never heard that. I believe you, and you really took him over. You shocked him. Because in his mind, he was thinking, this, I'm just going to keep real, this is another uneducated, probably black man, don't know too much. That's it. Exactly. That's it. You impressed him. And, yeah. And what I teach is this. When I was in Atlanta, when I would talk to a customer, and let's say I had an attorney that would come in, I would talk to them and ask them 1,000 questions about the law. Any question I had previously. If I talked to a doctor and he was a heart surgeon or a brain surgeon, I really want to know, what does that do? How does it work? I asked them questions because this is the thing. I was sincerely interested, and they knew it. I wasn't just asking questions, just trying to kiss up to them. You know, it's some customers that they would come in talking about what football team they like, and I like another team. And we almost argued about the teams, and they bought a car because I was sincere. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, how do you think this team is going to beat that team? Such and such, such. You know, we would almost get to the point where you would think we're arguing, but it's like we were on the porch at home talking. See, I treated every person, if they were like a woman could have been my aunt, my sister. If it was a man, it could have been my uncle, my cousin. I treated them like that. You know what I'm saying? And they just felt it. And that's what I wanted to do, was be able to do that and teach salespeople that, hey, these are people. These are not numbers you're dealing with. These are people. We know, and you're right. We know that you got bills to pay, but at the same time, we got to treat these people like their family. This is not just another job. That's it. Wrong. And exactly. Whoever's listening today that goes the same way. If you work for McDonald's, if you work for Wakefield Grocery Store, you don't treat it like a job. You treat it just like they are your friends and your family. I'm telling you, it makes a big difference, and you would see. Let me tell you something. If you're working, this is what I did. If you're working
at McDonald's, if you're working at Walmart, this is what I do. Walk in there like you're the owner. Okay. Take care of whatever you do like you're the owner, because this is the thing. This is what you don't realize. You can be one day if you want to. If you want to, you can be. You know, this is. I don't know if you know the guy that owns the club downtown, Alex. You know, at Visions. He used to park cars in the parking lot. Mm-hmm. Now he owns the club. And guys asked him when he was parking cars, man, why are you so happy? You're running out here parking cars. What you so happy about? He said, one day I'm going to own this club. That's why he named the club Visions, because he had a vision. You know, I was watching on CNBC, there was a janitor at this high school. The principal walked up to him and said, hey, I want you grading papers, not picking papers up. And he walked away from him. The guy took that to heart. He became a teacher. Now he's the principal of the school. He was a janitor. Wow. So this is what you have to realize. You can do whatever you want to do. This is crazy. And this is what we don't realize. Our subconscious mind will accept whatever we tell it, because it can't differentiate between a penny and $1 million. Mm-hmm. Whatever you put in your mind and you keep thinking about, you can do it. Exactly. If you just keep that on your mind.
We do. We hinder ourselves when we think a certain way.
That's it. That's it.
We do. We do it all the time. We are our own worst enemy.
That's it. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. And fear just stands for a false expectation, a false event, or a false experience appearing real. You make it appear real in your mind that I'm going to walk up to this girl and she's pretty and she's going to say no. So I'm not going to walk up to her. I'm going to go to this job, but no, they're not going to hire me. You create your own fear.
Yeah, I have done that before too. When
we do it, and everybody goes through that. At some point in time, you're going to be apprehensive or uncertain. Like everything I've done when I was selling cars, I would talk to these people. I'd walk out and say, oh, man, I don't know if they're going to be able to buy. But you have to look at fear, stare it down, and then keep going through it. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You can't let that conquer you, because what will happen is that fear and that failure will walk away. It'll get out of your way. Once this knows you're walking and you're not going to stop walking, it's going to get out your way. But what we do is we let the fear make us scared and we run the other way. But you can actually make fear run the other way.
And I know I have done it previously. And sometimes I think I still have the tendency of doing it, because I say I can't do this.
Exactly. So what you have to do is you have to knock that T off of the can't. And then what you got?
Yeah, because I know when I was 5 and intern, I did that one day. I was so upset because I was late. I was like, oh, Lord, this woman's not going to let me intern with them at 5. She's going to turn me back now. And when I got there, I was crying. She said, why are you crying? I said, because you're not going to give me the opportunity to intern because I'm late. She said, why? I mean, all we did was the other people gone, but that doesn't mean you still can't get it. And she gave it to me. Mm-hmm. I was just I'm telling you, I was so late. I was like about 5 minutes. I was like, oh, Lord, this going to show her I'm not independent. But she gave it to me. Right. I let fear get to me. And the first thing my husband told me, before I take you in, I need you to put your hand on this Bible. Do it now. Mm-hmm. And I started praying. I walked right on in there. Mm-hmm. But you right. See, that's it. And this is another reason why I love doing my shows. Because, we also talk about car salesmen, but God always plays a part in everything that we do. I don't care what you're talking about. He always going to play a part. We all went from car salesmen to talking about God, see? He never fails. He going to sneak. That's one thing I like about him. He's going to come in the conversation no matter what you're doing.
Exactly. And see, a lot of people have to realize this, though. Anything you try to do, you have to have a spiritual foundation or it's not going to last. It's as simple as that. And a lot of people don't want to say, I can't really take that into my training, but I have to drop little bits and pieces in there. You know what I'm saying? Because this is not religious, it's spiritual. You have to have a spiritual foundation. It's not going to last.
Exactly. You are so right.
Yeah.
So, Tim, what for the ones who are listening who might want to be a salesperson, what advice really can you really give them if they're just starting out?
If you really want to, this is the thing. Everybody's in sales. I don't care if you're working at Wendy's at the drive-through window. When you drive to the drive-through window, they say what? Can I help take your order? You say whatever you want to say, and they just say you want a drink with that. They're selling you a drink. You want to biggie size it. They want you to Get a larger size. Everybody's a salesperson. Because I talk a lot of people say I'm not. Everybody. I can keep going on about that. But if you really want to be in sales, this is what you have to realize. Don't get into it and try it. See, when I said I wanted to be a salesperson, I got in it to learn everything about it. Because if you can get in sales and do really good, you can go somewhere in life. Because everything is sales. You have to sell yourself at an interview. Sell yourself to this woman to marry you. Whatever you're going to do, if you learn as much as you can about it, and this is the main thing in sales, what I would say. If you want to really get in sales, the main thing you need to learn is you. You need to understand you. Once you understand you, then you can understand this next person. If you don't love you, you can't sell anybody. That's one of the main things about it. You have to understand and love you. Once you do that, then it's over. The game is over. You're going to attract people just because of your personality if you're happy. You know, you ever seen somebody that look like they frown, they're mad? That repels people. And salesmen do that. I've seen them do it. You know what I'm saying? I've just been smiling at people, and the customer would get out the car and walk towards me and wouldn't walk towards the other guys. And I wasn't smiling to get them to come to me. That's just the way I am all day. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't doing that to attract them. You know what I'm saying?
But they admired it.
But that's,
I said, but they admired it. They admired that smile.
Exactly. And I do it everywhere I go. You know what I'm saying? And see, a lot of people want to speak to you on the job. Well, you see them at Walmart, and they're just walking shopping, they won't even look at you. You know what I'm saying? So it has to be sincere. This is not something you can play. You get into sales, and they teach you that. You know, you got to smile to the customer. This and this. No, you got to smile everywhere you go. See, I don't teach you got to just smile. Anything you do in your personal is going to carry over into your business life. So you have to be that person. You know what I'm saying? And I always say this. Your present situation is not your future destination. So wherever you're doing now, you don't have to stay there. You have to be where you want to be at tomorrow in your mind right now. See, when I wanted to write a book, I had to tell myself it's already written. When I wanted to start this company, I kept telling people I was already doing it when I wasn't doing it. And then what happens is your subconscious mind picks up on that, and you can actually lie to yourself and make it the truth. I kept telling myself I own this company, I own this company, I own this company. Now I do. Now I'm actually walking into dealerships, talking to people and doing training. I said I was doing that 10, 15 years ago, and I was at a dealership selling cars. But I had to talk myself into it, and that's what I did.
And see, that's probably why I'm going wrong, because I want to be a news reporter, so in my mind I need to keep saying I am a reporter, because that's what I tell people now.
Yeah, you say it right now. That's it. You say it right now. That's it. You say it right now. And what will happen is this. The universe will attract. You will attract people, places, and circumstances and situations to who you will be. But you have to constantly think about that. I can't tell you how many times I have just thought about something and just thought about it. And it showed up. It showed up. I would be at work thinking of, I need a customer. Bam, they would show up. It happens. You ever been talking about somebody and then they called you or they showed up and you said, man, your ears must be burning.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Or if you say
that's what happens.
Yeah,
and they show up when they call you.
Yeah.
That is such thing as that. You can attract the things in your life. Now, if you just take that concept of talking about people and things to whatever you want. If you want to be this news reporter, you have to see yourself doing it. Grab a microphone, get in the mirror, take a picture of you. Do something as much as you can to have that like it's going on right now. If you got to go around different friends and news report to them and have somebody there with their phone videotaping you, whatever it takes.
Okay.
And it will happen. Whatever it takes. You have to do it. It'll sound silly.
Yeah.
It'll sound silly, but you can actually think it into existence. If you can think it, you can hold it.
Yeah. And I have to let go of that, like you said, let go of the fear. That's gonna be the main thing to do. Let go of the fear. It's
going to be there. See, this is the thing. Nobody is really fearless. Anything we do, we have that little fear, that little butterflies, that little apprehension, that uncertain. But you just keep pushing through it. You know, you're going to have it in the beginning, especially. Because, like, when I first started selling cars, it was difficult for me to walk up to a person. I didn't have any experience. I didn't have any self-esteem, self-confidence. I didn't know what to say, what to do. I didn't want to mess up, to get fired. You know what I'm saying? I had all these thoughts in my head, but I just kept going out there. I did it more than everybody else, so I overcame that fear quick. Because what will happen is some people just stand to the side and just look. Oh, you can go and talk to that customer. That looks like an attorney. That looks like a doctor. They're afraid of them. I will run to them, and I will be scared. And what will happen is they'll tell you, hey, I want to look at this truck. Get the keys. I want to drive it. So it didn't take a whole lot of selling in the beginning because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to mess up. Salespeople now, they do things where they mess up. They walk up to the customer with their hands in their pockets. They've been selling cars 10 years. They think they know everything. That's bad body language. That is bad body language. And see, they never studied body language, so they don't know it's bad, but I did. And I still do it to this day. I study every day.
Exactly. And that comes to mind, me, Tim. That's what we do on our job. You study the cues. You see somebody looking around, you know that obviously they need something. You have to watch the cues.
Exactly.
And coming to this point, one day my general manager, he came down, and, you know, most people get afraid of serving the general manager because, hey, you don't want that stuff. I went to my I was like, look, I need you to be on point. I told her like this, Tim. I said, I got this. Don't worry. I got this. Oh, I can come in the whole team. By the time I got through with them, the next day, my other supervisor came to me. She said, you did a great job. They were so impressed with you. And I was in my mind, oh, because I'm me. I'm not. And people, one thing about, like you said, Tim, about sincerity, people can tell fake and they can tell real. They can tell when you're being fake serving them.
Exactly.
Yeah, not
That's
always
it.
be real.
That's it.
People get on the wrong time. Quit calling people honey, darling. Okay, it might be unprofessional, but when I call you honey or darling, it's real. I can't be nobody. I can't go to that table. Sometimes it bothers me if I call somebody sir. I like to engage with because I like you to feel like you're my best friend, and I don't feel like you're my best friend if I'm calling sir or ma'am. Sometimes I like to call you get for your loved one. That's me. And people try to change me every day, and I tell them, you can't change me. You do you at your table, and I'm going to do me.
That's it. That's it. And it's always been said that the truth will set you free. And this is what we have to realize. We know it when we hear it, and when we see it, we feel it. Because this is the thing, it's just something inside of us. You know what I'm saying? The truth will resonate with the essence of your being. When you talk to people like that and you're truthful, they know. I've had customers that walk up and say, Tim, I'm glad you said it. It would just be something I said. He said, you know what? Just because you said that, I'm going to buy a car from you today. And that's how I would talk to people. And I've had, salesmen like, how do you do that? I said, I touch the customer's heart. That's what I do. The essence of them. Most salesmen don't do it. They don't know how to do it.
But, Tim, since we run short on time, is there a way someone can actually get your book?
Yeah, just go to my website. It's the Motor-Vator, the motor-vator.com, THEMOTOR V as in Victor, ATOR.com. And it'll say purchase ebook. You can purchase it there. You can get the paperback. And if I also got consultation on there. If you want some training on the book, just like you're asking me different things about questions that chapters I wrote in the book. If somebody reads and they got a question, how did you do this or how did you do that? I will actually do consultation on the book also. And I'm actually working on an audio version of the book and a DVD for the book.
Well, it sure has been a blessed and inspiring moment with you, and I'm glad that I was able to get in contact with you. I mean, we went from talking about cars to talking about God, and that's what I love. So, Tim, thank you for being on my show today.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, and you have a blessed one, Tim. I hope I can talk to you soon.
I appreciate it. It was a plum, pleasing pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye, Tim.
All right. See you later.